First of all, I'd just like to say a few words of thanks, New Zealand Mixed Martial Arts Federation, Spark Arena, and the Orake Morai for the very hospitable welcoming ceremony, the traditional greeting at the beginning of fight week. The gate tonight was 1.24 million US dollars, which is the highest gate here at Spark Arena for a sporting event. Attendance was 10,025, which was sold out. And the fight of the night goes to Felder and Hooker, with bonuses to Jimmy Crute and Priscilla Cachoeira. Any questions from the group? Yes, sir.
David, you heard that crowd tonight. What were your thoughts of that? Comparing it to some of the other ones you heard, Brad Riddell said he'd like to see if Conor McGregor could match that in Dublin.
You probably could. It was pretty loud. You know, I was just talking to Don, who runs a live event production here, and he and I were discussing, you couldn't even hear the buzzer. You couldn't hear the horns at the end of the Riddell fight, at the end of the Hooker-Felder fight. It was loud, akin to the Brazil events, which are, traditionally as loud as it gets. Conor in Dublin, George in Montreal. This was up there with some of the loudest events that I think we've ever experienced, and I think a testament to not only the quality level of the athletes that were competing, but the appreciation and the understanding of the fans here in Auckland. So it was solid.
Did Paul officially retire?
I don't know. I mean, he obviously had the conversation in the octagon speaking to Hardy. I also noticed he was taking off his gloves while he was still in the octagon, but we haven't received any official word as to whether or not he's actually retiring. He's been transported to the hospital along with Hooker. So sadly, neither one of them will be able to come and speak, but I'm sure we'll know pretty soon.
Your thoughts on Dan's performance?
It was great. I mean, that was a razor-thin fight. It was hard to score. I think there were only a couple rounds that were definitive one way or the other. The rest really could have gone both ways. But yeah, he looked great. I mean, he was sharp. He was precise. I think he was elusive. I was surprised. I thought there'd be more kicks and more elbows. But it was really real tactical battle.
Dave, just on the numbers you mentioned before, were you guys expecting to come in here and leave with the biggest attendance and gate ever taken here for a sporting event?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to get there. I don't know if it was on anyone's radar. We weren't really sure heading into this week what the gate record actually was. But as we were speaking about this week, we knew that we were going to surpass the Tahuna Marquardt fight as well as the Hunt and Lewis fight. So I think from a promotional perspective, it's nice getting that record. It's nice going north of 10,000 in terms of attendance. But yeah, I mean, it was an empty seat in the house. It was great.
Just on Dan's fight, how did you see that one?
Well, I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask. If Shelby was here, I mean, he was ringside and he probably could have scored it. I thought, number one, first round went to Felder. This is just my opinion. Hooker, 2 and 3. Felder 4, and then the 5th round. Are you waiting the takedowns, or are you waiting the octagon aggression and the effective striking? So, yeah, could have gone either way.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, thank you. I know it's going to take a bit of time to digest what's happened tonight, but Israel has been saying over the last couple of days that he does want to come back to New Zealand to defend his title. Should he, succeed against Yoel Romero? What is the likelihood of that potentially happening perhaps before the end of the year?
So likelihood low before the end of the year. I mean, we've mapped out our pay-per-view schedule thus far. If he's going to defend his belt, it's obviously going to be a pay-per-view. That doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity to have a pay-per-view here in Auckland. Going north of 10,000 in terms of the attendance is pretty important. Obviously, having an event here in Auckland, suits the North American pay-per-view market well, which is kind of our standard. We don't like to change the time of the pay-per-view. It happens every once in a while for extenuating circumstances, but it's just not good because consumer sort of standards, people are comfortable with the time. And so, Auckland's home to many of our corporate partners here. We've got a very robust content business here. This was the first event, we talked about it this week, this was the first event that we had on free-to-air television, which is important for us because I think it's the next step in assisting with the growth of the sport here. So, if he wants to defend the belt, well, the likelihood he's going to defend the belt somewhere else, because I assume he's going to fight again in 2020. It likely won't be here.
Okay, and Kai also mentioned about a Perth card in June. Is that as a matter of fact, or is that still whispers?
Not yet. I mean, lots of rumblings, as you can see online. We're looking towards an event in Australia at some point later this year. News is imminent, but nothing concrete to report now. But there's obviously a pretty healthy stable of athletes that can compete, given the performances tonight, and obviously all the other Australian and New Zealand athletes that have been competing well for quite some time.
Just with hooker doing well today and what Adesanya's sort of done for the sport, having two New Zealanders that are doing well in the sport, do you think that's helped from a lot of those stats that you read out with the gates and people turning up?
Yeah. I mean, this has been a long time coming. We've seen steady progress with the growth of the fan base and the distribution of the content through now free to air, pay-per-view, obviously our broadcast television business, as well as all the digital distribution opportunities that we've got here. Mark Hunt paved the way. I think he's had a lasting impact on the growth of the sport. But to have a massive sort of glut of talent right now, I think is sets us up really nicely for the sport in the future. It obviously helps with several of the athletes, including 3 of the CKB guys, winning tonight. I thought the Riddell fight was awesome. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think this is the natural evolution. I think for what's really comforting, I think for us, is we work really hard to help grow the sport and help grow the business in many regions around the world, especially this region. And nothing really happens without the success of the athletes. And I think that's a testament to how the quality level of the training and the gyms. And I'm sure that guys, like Hooker and Kai Kara-France and Brad Riddell and a number of others are going to continue to pave the way for future athletes in the UFC.
And I guess for yourself and even other athletes, do they enjoy New Zealand? Do they like it, the feedback that you get when they come down under?
New Zealand's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. We've had a great time in Auckland, very well received by all the fans. Everything was really well attended all week. We love coming here, and we'll absolutely be back.
Dave, very well, thanks. Any specific concerns around the two guys from the main event tonight, health-wise, or the cut on Paul's eye? Anything that you know of?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, probably. They've both been transported to the hospital. I can't tell you exactly what was going on. Felder's eye looked bad from the beginning of the first round. But that guy's a warrior. He stuck through it. He performed very well. So I'm not really sure the state of the guys right now, but we should have a full medical report in the next few hours, I guess.
And where do you see Dan go to from this now?
Well, man, he stepped up and called out Gaethje. That's a pretty nasty fight. So if that comes together, that would be entertaining. I think he called it, get the 2 human highlight reels together. That'd be pretty exciting.
You guys would be keen to make that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would as a lover of the sport, absolutely. We'll obviously leave that to Dana and Sean and Mick. I have no idea whether those guys have plans for Gaethje or for Dan after this, but on paper, it seems like a pretty entertaining fight.
If it is Gaethje next, is it a pay-per-view fight? Is it a main event?
No idea. I mean, listen, if it's a fight night, it seems like if you've got 2 top 5 guys, then it would be a main event, most likely on a fight night. If it's a pay-per-view, it won't be a main event because there's no belt. Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the support this week. We really appreciate it. And we'll see everybody soon. Thank you.